This is the HP Stream, one of the What? No, the HP Stream, not the P Stream. Huh? One of the worst laptops ever released, but will installing Linux on it save it? Well, let's find out. This is the HP Stream 11, and this is the HP Stream 13. Upon first glance, these laptops look exactly the same besides the size. And on second glance, you would be right, because yeah, there's really not much difference between these two laptops besides the size. We'll get into a little bit more of the differences in a moment, but yeah, they're basically exactly the same. If you want to see me talk more in detail about the HP Stream 11 itself, I actually made a video all about it. Click up here to watch it. Before we talk about what version of Linux I'm going to put on this machine, let's talk about the small little differences between these two computers. The main one being that the Stream 13 has a 13-inch screen, that one's pretty obvious, and the Stream 11 has an 11-inch screen. Who would have thunk it? This is one of the few times HP's naming schemes have actually made sense. Taking a look at the side of the device, we can see that all the ports have been swapped. And actually on the Stream 13 we do get an extra port, with the extra USB port that's been put on this side. But one thing that I find super strange is that the small laptop has the full-size SD card slot, but the big laptop has a micro SD card slot. How does this make any sense? I don't know. And of course, the back of both of these laptops say Hewlett-Packard on it because it's a professional Hewlett-Packard machine. And it still says on the bottom that HP is a registered trademark of Hewlett-Packard Company. Opening the laptop up, you'll find that it looks exactly the same as the Stream 11. No, really, I mean, it's exactly the damn same. Well, not really. There's a few minor, small differences. For example, on the Stream 13, you get these extra buttons on the side, which I hate. I cannot stand that HP keeps doing this even till this very day, because every time I hit backspace, oops, I've hit home and now my whole page has moved. And there's honestly times where mashing these buttons next to backspace can cause you to lose quite a bit of work. It's actually really annoying. However, the trackpad on the 13-inch model is a little bit bigger, so technically that is an upgrade, and it's a nice one. One other thing that's actually better about the 13-inch model is the spacebar. As I talked about in my video about the 11-inch version, the spacebar on this machine is pretty, well, shit. It's terrible. It is one of the worst spacebars I've ever used on a computer, and it literally doesn't even register presses half the time. It was like this since brand new because, well, my dad bought this one brand new, as I talked about in the video. However, I am tickled and delighted to report that the spacebar on this thing actually works like a normal computer, and it feels good too. It's also a bit longer as well, which is handy. As for the differences, yeah, that's literally it. They have the same specs, the same screen, the same webcam, the same speakers. It's got an Intel Celeron with 2 whole gigabytes of RAM and 32 gigs of soldered eMMC storage, which was the biggest Achilles heel of these machines, because the default Windows install would pretty much take up all of it right out the box. One thing I will say about these HP Stream laptops though is that the colors on them look fantastic. I love this blue gradient look. They also came in purples, light blues, pinks, and then eventually they also went to grey and black, which, hey, that's every single laptop made nowadays. This does kind of look like the MacBook Neo that was just introduced, but honestly, while the pink is nice in the MacBook Neo, I'm not too much of a fan of the piss yellow color, and yeah, I think Apple really should have used the iMac colors on the MacBook Neo. And it would actually kind of look like this with the blue and the lighter colored keys. Ugh. But Apple would never. We have to have muted colors because they said so. Let's now talk about Linux. What Linux distro am I going to install on this thing? Well, I didn't really know, so I asked you guys on Twitter, and then I decided to basically ignore most of the suggestions on there. So I decided to go with Linux Mint. Now, it's no secret that I have been avoiding Linux a little bit on the channel, mostly because I'm kind of put off by all the elitism that surrounds it. I use Arch, by the way, but honestly, no matter what I pick for this video, I already know that I'm gonna get some kind of backlash for it, but let me explain my choice. Linux Mint is relatively easy to install. You don't need to mess around with command line too much or do whatever the hell you need to do for an Arch Linux install. You just plug a USB in, install it, and it's done. I'm mostly approaching this video more as a normie, you know, someone who's just heard of Linux and wants to use a quick and easy solution. I don't need any fancy bells and whistles, I just need something that runs well. I know there's niche stuff out there that would run super well on anemic hardware like this, but I'm not really going to look into that at the moment. For now, as kind of a Linux noob myself, I'm just going to go with the most basic option. Maybe later I'll dive into more complex distros or other sorts of things, but for now, feel free to send all of your complaints to complaints@frokfrdk.com. Alrighty-o, we are downloading Linux Mint, and we can either get the Cinnamon Edition or XFCE Edition. I'm going into this as a complete and utter normie, and we're going with XFCE. Why? Because it's the lightweight version. I don't think the HP Stream laptop needs the one with the fanciest effects and graphics and everything, it just needs something a bit lighter. I know that there's lighter Linux distros out there, but again, I'm going into this as a complete and utter normie, just as someone who has only just heard of Linux and wants to try it out. So we'll see how much this pretty simple normie-esque choice will work for Linux. Here we have our Linux Mint ISO. I don't really know what other settings are changed, so we're just gonna press start and let's see what happens. We'll just do ISO mode. Yep. I think that's the right drive. Famous last words. Let's go! Oh wait, it's the wrong drive! Nah, it's all good. It's all good. Look at that, it already says Linux Mint. And yeah, all my other drives are just permanent hard drives on my NAS, so it's okay, it's all good. Let's start installing Linux on the HP Stream. We have the USB plugged in. I don't really remember which button's the boot one, so we're just gonna mash a bunch of them, at least escape an F2, that should probably be enough. It's not happy about the CMOS battery, yada yada yada, enter reboot. Go, 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 go! Let's go to boot device options, F9, and ooh, look at that, we get our USB hard drive, our Toshiba 8GB. Let's go! And now it should be booting maybe into Linux. I wonder if it will work. That's a Linux Mint logo, and also a lot of dust on the screen. I haven't cleaned it yet, don't worry guys. Maybe I should have gone with a more blue-themed operating system, but we'll worry about that later. Linux! Wait a minute, it works! I can boot it, it's a 64-bit operating system. And it works on this machine, hell yeah! Oh yeah, we're already in the live session, we don't even have to do anything. That's what I like about Linux. I actually really like the live USB thing where you can just run it off the USB. This is great. We're already in the system. The number one issue I've always had using Linux is Wi-Fi. I've never had Wi-Fi just work out the box. Now granted, I used Fedora for a few things. I've only ever really tried Ubuntu, Fedora, and the Arch Linux install that's on SteamOS for Steam Decks. So this is the first time I'm ever trying Linux Mint, and so far, everything seems to just work right out the box. Without even installing, it's just running right off the USB. We have just connected to the Wi-Fi, and now let's go to something like frokfrdk.com. Press enter, and it should just work. Look at it. Look at us go! Even the font's different because the Linux Mint system font's different. Yeah, not the smoothest thing in the world, but it's working perfectly fine. Seriously, old computers are perfectly usable with the right operating system even today. This guy only has 2 gigs of RAM. I mean, granted, we haven't even installed the operating system, nor are we even pushing it hard at all, but just from running it off the USB, within like 2 minutes, I'm up and running, I'm web browsing, no problems at all. Let's go to a page with lots of images on it. I think we'll do the MyStyle folder 2 one because it's got pictures from the camera comparison. Okay, it is struggling a little bit loading these pictures. It's a little bit slow. I know it's not a problem with my internet. When it loads, it'll align it all into the columns. There we go. That's not too bad. Once that's loaded in, that's actually working pretty well. Some older computers and certain web browsers really struggle doing these blur effects, but this is running perfectly fine. Again, we'll do more tests like YouTube YouTube video watching once we actually install the operating system, but just from running it off the USB. This is great, it works perfectly. I don't think there's really much else for us to do. Let's go and install Linux Mint. If only the screen on the HP Stream didn't suck, it would actually be a really nice computer. But I mean, HP doesn't even know how to put good screens on their modern computers. They still sell $1,400 laptops with garbage LCD displays in 2026. So if they don't know how to do it now, they sure as hell didn't know how to do it back in 2015 on their cheapest models. Alright everyone, don't mind the background noise, it's a little bit noisy trying to film during the day. One thing that I'm surprised that just works right out of the box is like the hardware keys for increasing and decreasing the brightness. That works. Here we go. Oh, and now the two-finger scrolling's working. Look at that. Why wasn't this working in Firefox? It's working in the system perfectly fine, but not in Firefox. That is interesting. Type here to test your keyboard. Goober. And look at that, the spacebar on the larger model works better than the spacebar on the smaller guy. Install multimedia codecs, I think we might do that. And we're not going to configure secure boot because I don't care. Let's press next. Install Windows alongside boot manager. No, we only have 32 gigs of eMMC, just crappy eMMC storage. We need to just wipe all of this off and just get rid of it. I don't know what this means. Let's just erase disk and install Linux Mint. Yeah, do that. We're doing it the normie way because I don't know, man. Write the changes to disk? Absolutely. I currently have an install of Windows 8 on this thing without drivers. Just get rid of it. Get rid of it. Put Linux on this guy. Where am I? I am in Adelaide, South Australia. Let's go. I'm gonna let this sit here for a while and install Linux, and then we'll come back to it when it's done and see how well it runs on this HP Stream Goober laptop. Let's go! I love this. I went out of the house for a while this installed and none of the screen lock tools ran successfully. That's okay. Let's restart our install. Please remove the installation medium, then press enter. Okay. Sure, buddy. Whoa! Whoa, so much for boost messages! Error. I'm hoping that's not a bad thing. It really doesn't like that. Whatever block that is, it doesn't like it. Best I can do is just let this thing sit here and figure itself out, possibly, maybe. Unless it's gonna keep looping on this forever, then I'm kinda stuffed. Well, I filmed an entire video unboxing a package with these nifty little devices on there, which are infinitely more interesting than this junk. And it's still, yeah, just infinitely looping the same error. So let's restart it. Power cycle this guy. And there it goes. What happens when we turn it on? Maybe it's an error going from the USB to the actual installation. Maybe it just won't work. Takes a little bit to turn on. Yeah, it's actually a lot slower trying to boot into Linux Mint than it is trying to boot into Windows 8. Just goes to show how fast Windows 8 was, but this is a much newer operating system, technically. Connection established. Fantastic. There we go. We're in the system. It's all working perfectly fine. We can go into the calculator, open that. Picture finally loads. Then it gives you a little welcome screen because this is my first time booting the fully installed version. Look at that! All working perfectly fine. So let's dive in a little bit deeper and take a look at what using Linux Mint on this HP Stream Nugget is like. Ultra wide. Yeah, it's the only way I'm able to fit these two laptops into the frame. Don't mind the mess, that's both the chargers needed to power these things, or at least keep them charged throughout the video. I've already talked about these two devices, but we're going to be putting these two guys head to head to see how does Linux, like modern Linux, outperform Windows from 2013. Yeah, look at that, ultra wide coming in clutch. Let's turn both of these laptops on at the same time to see which one boots faster. 3, 2, 1. HP logo already on that guy. It's complaining about the CMOS battery. Windows is saying welcome. This hasn't even shown, yeah, and it's already done. Wow, that is so much faster. What is making this guy slower besides Linux? I know Linux doesn't boot very fast on this guy. I wonder if there's something else going on with it. Yeah, we're already browsing the C drive and this guy has only just started showing the Linux Mint logo. It's still going. There we go. Second time it's showing the logo. We can look at the start menu and then the start screen. Oh yeah, Windows 8. Oh, there we go. That's how long it took. So yeah, clearly Windows 8.1 booted a lot faster. Not even the fact that this is trying to open up all the programs that I had open before. This just booted up faster. By the time I could just browse the file explorer, this guy was struggling to even show the Linux logo. Alright, editor's note. Is the Windows 8 boot up time affected by the hibernation sleep thing? Let's find out by restarting the computer instead. Alright, we're restarting. Now it's booting from the restart. Let's see how long it takes. It's really not that much slower. So it's not Windows hibernation, it's just that Windows 8's got really fast boot times, and this computer, well, at least it boots fast, so there's that, I guess. Let's also try doing a forced shutdown. Power cycle here. Let's see how fast it boots, so it doesn't even have a chance to hibernate or whatever the Windows modern shutdown is. Oh, it took a little bit longer, but that's still not very long at all. Yeah, that's just how fast this laptop boots. So it's not the Windows hibernation shutdown thing that's causing it to boot fast, it just boots fast. I will say though, if you try this with a Windows 11 computer, you will not get the same results, because Windows 8 has some of the fastest boot times of any version of Windows. And just in general, Windows 8.1, even on some anemic Intel Atom with only 2 gigs of RAM, still absolutely flies. Look how fast this is. Hey, you know what? For comparison, let's get this guy out. This is an Acer Aspire generic Nugget laptop. This runs an Intel N100 with 4 gigs of RAM, double the amount of RAM as a Stream 11. This runs Windows 11, let's see how long this takes to boot. I press the power button. Now the boot times might actually be pretty decent on there. Click on File Explorer. Yeah, it takes a bit longer to load File Explorer than Windows 8, but you know what? That's actually not horrific. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that this is a quad-core processor. If this was a dual-core Celeron or anything like the Atom in here, it would just struggle, but this is not... okay, hold on. Nope, there's our hitches. I've double-clicked that. Yep, loading. Yeah, infinitely more powerful than this HP Stream ever was. And it's still slower. It should never take this long to load. This is how bloated Windows 11 has become. Look at this. It's struggling to load the C drive. If I open the C drive on here, instant, absolutely instant. Let's right click the taskbar, task manager, gotta wait a bit for it to load. You really gotta wait a while for it to load. And by the way, this is with all the bloatware removed, all the Acer crap removed. This is a pretty light version of Windows 11 I put on here, Windows 11 Enterprise, and it is struggling. Look at this. 150 megs of RAM taken up by the anti-malware service. All we have open is a File Explorer window, and that's it. And we're already using 70% of our RAM. Let's compare that to this guy real quick. Task Manager. Oh, look how instantly that opened. Now, we are still using 64% of RAM, and there is something that is taking up 100 megs. Oh, look at that. 3% of CPU usage, 7%. How much CPU is this using? 27, 30%. It's kind of doing nothing. Yeah, just a lot of the slowdowns seem to have come from Windows 11. It just really goes to show the difference in speed. Going back to Linux here, this would be more equivalent to Windows 11 because it's a modern operating system. And yeah, you could just see it is infinitely faster. You'd hope so at least, but it definitely is. Let's do a little bit of web browsing, and we're going to keep Task Manager open just to see what's going on here. And I actually don't know what the Linux equivalent of Task Manager is on this guy. Let's find out what it is. Okay, apparently the Linux Mint version of Task Manager is called Task Manager. That's handy. Okay, we're using 62% of RAM and 43% of CPU. Seems to be similar overhead to Windows 8, which is a good thing because Windows 8 is like actually pretty well optimized. It's okay, underneath all the layer of Metro UI crap in the start screen, Windows 8 is essentially just Windows 7 but slightly more modern, and it's actually still pretty lean and fast, especially compared to Windows 10. Windows 10 is when Windows really went crap. That's actually with Firefox open. If I close Firefox, we're down to like 5% CPU and 41% memory. Not bad. Just thought I'd also clarify here that these guys have the exact same CPUs, the blazing fast Intel Celeron N2840. Make of that what you will. They both have 2 gigs of RAM, so this is about as fair of a comparison as we can get. Alright, let's launch Firefox. I have a feeling that this guy's going to try updating, so it might make it even slower, but let's have a look. 3, 2, 1, click that. Oh, that's really similar. That's not bad. Hey, let's go on this guy right here and let's compare. I press the start button. Yep, there we go. Firefox. I know search takes up a few hundred megs of RAM as well because this is just a web view thing as everything is in Windows 11. Oh, UI is frozen. Come on, buddy. There we go. And enter. Yep, UI is struggling to load in. And there we go. Look how much slower Firefox loads on this guy. And this laptop is a quad core with 4 gigs of RAM. Really goes to show. These ancient computers with 2 gigs of RAM, and sorry, how many cores? 2 cores. These are dual core processors with 2 gigs of RAM, and they are completely outperforming my Windows 11 4 gig of RAM laptop. That is just crazy, honestly. Luckily, there is a shortcut right here to YouTube. Let's click that. 3, 2, 1. Who's gonna win? No way! Linux guy's not faring as well. 3, 2, 1. Okay, and it's actually gonna start playing a video. Seems like the Linux system won. Yeah, look at that. The Linux system, the video is actually ahead. I have a feeling the Linux system might be winning here because there might be more advanced and modern video encoding stuff. I'm not sure, that's my hypothesis. I also did click that checkbox during setup. Install multimedia codecs. I think we might do that. So maybe it did something. The experts can let me know how correct I am on that. Let's put this up to 720p 60 because these screens are only just a little bit higher resolution than 720p. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay. The HP Stream 11 on Windows is slightly faster. This guy's dropping frames. This guy's dropping frames on Linux Mint. Interesting. Oh no, they're both frozen. So it seems like this one is ahead, but you know what? They're actually both struggling just as bad as each other on here, so 720p YouTube, I don't know if it can do it, man. I think streaming YouTube has always been quite intense, but it's only been getting more and more intense as time goes on. Let's get that same video up on the Windows 11 machine and compare it to this guy. Now, I have a feeling the Intel N100 might have better hardware encoding for video watching. Maybe, who knows? Let's find out, I guess. I can't even get into this webpage. The fan is ramping up on this guy, and I can't even click into the YouTube video. This is modern Windows with an up-to-date version of Firefox, and it is struggling to load the YouTube banner. I did not have this experience running Linux Mint or Windows 8. At least it's letting me know that the temps are gonna rise, so I guess that's important. At least it's not showing me sports results, because I totally care about that. You'd think getting a decade newer device that is more powerful by every stretch of the imagination, you'd think you'd get a better experience, but no, apparently not. Let me try reloading the webpage. I've clicked reload. Okay, about 15 seconds later, yeah. Wow, this is terrible. I've put both of these guys on 720p 60, moved it to the start of the video. Let's press space. That guy started playing faster. Or will it be more consistent? I don't see any dropped frames currently. Okay, this one's starting to drop frames a bit, and this guy's handling it not too bad. And it's starting to drop frames. Oh my god. It's the same. Well, there you go. The YouTube viewing experience on budget laptops between 10 years is exactly the damn same. Really goes to show just how bad Windows 11 is. I actually do have a Fedora install on a separate SSD inside of here because yeah, this guy has an NVMe slot for a second SSD bay. It's actually kind of crazy. I bet you if I booted up the Fedora install, this would absolutely smoke both of these. Interesting. Here we are on frokfrdk.com. 3, 2, 1. Who's gonna win? Oh, this has loaded the images in faster. Frame rates on the Windows 8 machine seem to be pretty good. This guy, not so much, but it loaded the images in faster. Interesting. Okay, that's web browsing, but what about video games? And what video game to play? Well, Minecraft, of course, because honestly, Minecraft's a pretty good test. You can scale it from being potato quality to RTX supercomputer benchmark. Now, I'm pretty sure I have multi-MC on this guy because I couldn't get Prism to work for some reason. I've got Prism working on this guy, so let's click on Prism. Click on this guy. Nope, I don't want to rename the file. Nope, I don't want to rename the file. I want to open it. What is... Just open the file. There we go. Jeez. I've changed both versions of Minecraft to 1.21.4 because that's what my server works with, so let's press launch. Oh, come on. Okay, we're not going to be launching it on the HP Stream 11. Instead, we're just going to play on the HP Stream 13 because I've already got footage of this running. Minecraft has opened here. It is now loading. Hopefully it doesn't crash. Okay, let's go into here and let's call it HP Linux. Let's do the HP seed on creative mode. Create new world. This might take a bit, obviously, because trying to generate new terrain, not going to be the fastest thing in the world. Okay, it all of a sudden went fast. Now we're unloading terrain. I see the move with thing, so we're nearly there. It's loaded the tutorial. We're in. Okay, here we go. Let's press, I think, function F3. We should see the frame rates. 1 FPS, 0 FPS, hell yeah. So this is pretty similar to how it was acting on the HP Stream 11 running Windows 8. I don't know, it's the same processor, obviously. So far, 8's the highest we've gotten. Can we go higher? What happens if we look at the ground? 4, 1, it doesn't like it. 9 FPS, we're nearly at double digits. We got so close. 11, we hit double digits. We did it. This keyboard has the stupid thing where if you press a key, you can't use the trackpad. I press a key, I can't use the trackpad. So I cannot move and look around at the same time. That is absolutely awful. I think that is very much a HP thing. My old HP laptop did that, and so is this guy. I want to try loading Fabulously Optimized on this machine because it didn't work on the HP Stream 11 running Windows 8, but will it work on here? And will it fix the frame rate issues? Let's find out. I've turned it down to 2 chunks now, so it's a direct comparison, and it's not really a higher frame rate, it's just more so a lot smoother, because you might have recalled it going from like 20 all the way to 1, all the way to 15. At least now it's like the minimum frame rate seemed to be sitting around 10. It doesn't seem to really be dipping below that. So what it's done is essentially just made it a lot smoother. Instead of giving me more frames, it's made those frames more consistent. So in conclusion, did Linux save the HP Stream? Not really, because it honestly wasn't that bad on Windows 8 anyways. I bet you if you loaded Windows 10 on this thing, it would be an absolute slog. What we did find out though is that this laptop is honestly just as fast as this guy running Windows 11. This guy is every bit more powerful than this guy is, but because it's running modern micro slop OS, like look at this lock screen. Look at this lock screen. No, I don't want the news. No, I don't want facts about this lighthouse. I mean, it's a nice lighthouse, don't get me wrong. I just don't want to see facts about it. Hold on, let's see how long that takes to load again. Well, nice lighthouse. Oh, yep, there we go. Even running stock Windows 8, this laptop wasn't actually too bad. Again, not fantastic by any stretch of the imagination, but it seems like Linux didn't really change much about it because Windows 8's not too bad. Older hardware like this can put up a fighting chance against modern hardware for basic stuff. It's just running garbage software using bloated applications on bloated operating systems. There's no reason why a quad-core processor with even 4 gigs of RAM should be running so slow compared to this 10-year-old dual-core CPU with 2 gigs of RAM. I want to see how much storage Linux takes up on this guy, because mind you, this computer only has 32 gigs of eMMC storage, 15 gigs available even after installing Minecraft and creating a world. Also, mind you, this has LibreOffice and stuff pre-installed, so you can just start making Word documents immediately. This guy here has Minecraft installed, Firefox, a few other things. It doesn't have Office, because Office would just chew through all the storage. 6 gigs! 6 gigs free, and I bet you if I installed Office, it would be right at the edge. That's probably the biggest problem with this machine. The 32 gigs of slow eMMC storage is just not enough for Windows, because as soon as you buy the machine, you've lost 3/4 of your storage. It's so bad. I am so glad that 128 gigs is at least a minimum for Windows 11, because at least that's usable. My name is frokfrdk, you can say however you want, I really don't care. New videos whenever I like. Consider becoming a channel member like all these people on the screen have. You get some bonus videos, early access to my upcoming videos, custom Discord server roles, and your very own Minecraft server. All rolled into one, starts at $1 a month. And that's about it. That's the end of the video. Thanks for watching.